Now 2012 has been a vintage that was very typically Mediterranean, a warm vintage, a sun-drenched vintage, a quite dry vintage, so we were at some point even worried because a saying says that the vine, the grapevine, has to suffer to give its very best, but we know that too much suffering is not something that is very favourable. So quite luckily the 2012 vintage turned out to be a happy ending because it rained just a little bit before harvest to give the vines just that little amount of water and freshness that was required to make a wine which is remarkably open, I think, for such a young wine. The wines of Dell'Ornellaia are wines that are meant to age. We took a term that we call l'incanto, the enchantment, the delightment, because sometimes even us, we're making wine every year, and yet every year we're amazed about what's happening because we just don't know in advance. And we were hoping, as every year, that 2012 would turn out to be a great vintage. What we didn't know, and what we could not know in the first place, is how the wine would be so charming, so open, so silky, and so approachable in its use. The only worry you have is that people will drink it up too early, so we can only recommend to refrain from being too enchanted and keep a couple of your bottles in the cellar. And if you are not quite sure how to figure this out, I can only recommend buy just one case to drink it now and buy the second case to put it back in your cellar. That's all from my part I had to say about 2012.